Okay, let's have a look at this sketchbook. It's good to see around the periphery of your mind map here things that are starting to think about possible visualizations of some of these ideas. It very much sets up your intent to develop ideas and to explore, experiment, and so on. Also to record all the little permutations of your thoughts. So this sort of sets the bar in terms of covering a number of things you're marked on, but also going into depth about the whole starting point of the theme. Geoffrey Farmer pages, now pretty well documented, your own thoughts, quotes, and so on are in here also. So there's room to mini mind map. You've put a page in here where you've done just that. Let's have a look at it. Again, lots of little pieces coming off in all directions in terms of the developing the idea of the theme itself. Might be nice to have little kind of sketches of how these might be visualized also, just to lend this page a really rich variety of recording your thoughts and a rich variety of ways of communicating your thoughts. However half formed and however polished they are, we can see how your ideas are developing on these sorts of pages. And likewise with Tony Orsler, again, a good range of images, perhaps some distinction between which are your favourite ones, maybe even reference to some URLs of some videos maybe online. Use the TylerStarterDesign.com site web space to actually have some of the live videos perhaps. And of course there's the potential of actually doing your own video, your own projections. It would be nice to see you kind of use your initiative, use your kind of get yourself organised with booking out the equipment and making some experiments. It wouldn't take a great deal of time, and then you'd have some other potential outcomes from this. Things like how you start to document down here. Again, more little visual sketches. Sketches down here could just serve to be sketches, not necessarily demonstrations of an ability to draw, just a recognition that there are other ways of communicating the processes you're thinking, engage in your experiments, and demonstrating your understanding of materials and the possibility of employing them. Okay, Hannah Hock. Then you start to have Hannah Hock experiments here. So you've got a range of photographs. Might be good to have some sort of indication of ones that you particularly want to focus on. And this cut out and typed sort of format lends itself quite well to kind of overlapping with additional annotation that might perhaps indicate some comparison between the two, or perhaps how her work changed over time, and perhaps breaking down some more of the formal elements. So we've got some experiments. It'd be nice to have some more. Exploring the strangeness, developing your own interpretation that little bit further. I think this needs to be a double page, really. And there needs to, again, to be some comparison and cross-reference. Comparison to Hannah Hock, but also comparison between each item that you make. Possibly associated sounds, associated text, the employment of other materials, samples of other materials you might add for clothing, perhaps. This was a Dada and Surrealism sheet. You've highlighted various things. Now, other images, thinking around the whole subject. It's quite a brief little look we've had at Dada and Surrealism, but really it's such a key element in the work we start with the workshops. A double page again, I think, and some images and examples, I think, of work that you respond to, rather than necessarily the typical examples that will come up when you look up Dada and Surrealism. Again, really good to get the mind maps in. Same thing, visuals would be useful too. Clay model, good to have the images in. Thoughts again, and the Metzger, and thoughts on the Metzger. I mean, you've been thorough about this. You really have thought about the possibilities. This is a book that's becoming rich in ideas. Get the visuals in too. I'd like to see you using some more, a wider variety of visual language skills, shall we say, and also as the ideas develop, the research becomes more purposeful. It's slightly disparate at the moment, and as these ideas start to emerge, a sense of purpose and direction and something that is perhaps more personal in terms of your own response will start to come out. There we go. More people we've looked at. Maybe it needs a page. It needs a page where you're making connections between the people you've looked at. Some sort of sense that there's an emerging response. So kind of intertwined with these pages where, like the plastic experiments and the lighting, the wire experiments and so on, they need to be in here so we can see how it sort of weaves in and out. It's coming in now. And I'm thinking it needs to be more substantial. Just maybe an A4 image, or maybe thinking about lighting it with a background, posing it in different ways, thinking of text, thinking of other variants. If you're going to be looking for the kind of higher end of the grades, I just give it a little bit more of a push further on. Questioning how well you've manipulated the formal elements and explored them. And how much you've extended beyond techniques that you know, that's something to be documenting also. Okay, so response pieces, they're starting to kind of draw different threads together, and that's where it's starting to get a little bit more interesting. Use more visual elements in the presentation of the book. I like the way this is now taking on a bit more of a life of its own. Again, we've got largely. I mean, when you look back through the book, largely we've got text, we've got images of artists' work, but not a lot of your own sort of visual exploration, and that really would be kind of more the icing on the cake if you could start bringing that into. Good group of images, and nice to see you've chosen some. And given it some really decent bit of room. I'd be inclined also with some of them possibly to crop they're quite high resolution. If you did higher resolution images, there'd be I think some of these might be on the internet, but I believe you took a lot of these on your phone. So could they be trimmed? Could they be where could things go next? I think that's also an important point to make. So kind of overall evaluation, and thorough linking to self. You've listened to advice and taken advice, and you've worked hard at documenting things well. You certainly worked hard at getting all these evaluations in. I think that's really impressive. You'd be hard to argue that you hadn't really thought all these things through. Plaster sculpture, that was looking very promising. Maybe that could be taken a little bit further. This is obviously speculation as to where it could go. And also the George Segal. And here we go. I'm not saying draw all the photographs, but it's nice to see how you handle the pencil or the paint or the various media, and how you start to think about how to fine-tune the way in which you handle those other elements. We've got options in terms of, you have options obviously in terms of how you render these figures, how you choose to photograph the wire figure, how you choose to photograph and arrange the plaster pieces. And so we need to see kind of more in depth how you make those decisions. Okay, some more analysis and mind mapping and so on. So Alice, I think you've done well. I would not be shy of bringing in more visual material to these, as I've already said. Perhaps there are other opportunities with the piece you're working on now to explore that sort of area, and also the 2D book. It'd be good to photograph the 2D book and to have some look at that to see how you are exploring the formal elements more literally and overtly in the book. Please comment after looking at this video so I can get a sense of how much it's useful and what sorts of things you want to take away from it and things you disagree with.